Full disclosure, I am recording this video on the morning of August 1st. Saturday, it is before the play-in series Game 1 between the Habs and the Penguins, and I have no doubt that the result of that Habs and Penguins game is going to change how people feel about this one piece of news. If the Canadiens win Game 1, which you would have already known, then we probably would be looking at this and saying, yes, okay, that's cool. But if they lose Game 1, then Habs fans are going to freak out. Nevertheless, I do have plans to do a live stream for Game 1, as well as Game 2, etc. for this Habs and Pen series, so hopefully that stream, which would have happened yesterday, was a good one, and if you were there, you probably would have known if it was a good one. But today we're talking about a report out of 919 Sports in Montreal. What is 919 Sports? Well, according to their bio, they are the only francophone 100% sport radio station in Montreal. They have 28.9 thousand followers on Twitter, and they're quite a legit radio station. They published this report earlier on July 30th, and man, it's quite interesting. The tweet reads this. Selon Sautin la poste, l'entourage da... Okay, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to translate this in Google because my French pronunciation is terrible. According to some reports, Alexis Lafreniere's entourage wants him to be drafted by a team other than the Canadiens. They then ask, are we too severe with Quebecers in Montreal? Just for those who are wondering for the definitions, an entourage is a group of people attending or surrounding an important person. So, Lafreniere's entourage would be like the agents that represent him, the trainers that he works with, the people like that. Certainly, it's kind of weird to envision individual players having their own quote-unquote entourage, but that's the word that's used here. They would rather see Lafrenière drafted by a team other than the Canadiens. Now, I think the question that they ask at the end is certainly relevant to this discussion, but this isn't the first time we've had some Lafrenière no Montreal material before. Remember all the way back in April? We made a video talking about how Alexis Lafrenière reportedly met with, I think it was like 14, 13, it was over 10 NHL teams when it comes to like interview processes and all that stuff. And the Montreal Canadiens were not one of them. That video was a little bit more vague. It was a lot more, okay, this is what apparently happened. Apparently the Canadiens didn't meet with him. Is this something to worry about? Is it not? But this is a verbalization of the same worries, that apparently Lafreniere's team of people would rather see him somewhere else than Montreal. Now, I will say, this post was posted onto our Habs, and it's at 0 upvotes right now. 47% of users upvoted this, which makes it a negative upvoted post. It's got negative karma over here. And all the comments do bring up some really interesting points that I would like to share with you. Here. The first one here from a guy named Bomer. Listen, it may be true, or it may be not. We'll never know for sure. If we draft him, he'll say the obligatory "it was always my dream to play for Montreal." And if we don't draft him, he'll say "it would have been cool, but I'm happy with where I ended up." It doesn't matter anyways. Unless he pulls a Lindros, which nobody will ever do again, he will play where he is drafted. He may be wary of the pressure, but he doesn't know what he wants. He's still a kid. Philippe Deneau didn't want to play here because of the pressure, but it ultimately made him a better player, and now he might say the opposite privately. So that's certainly a really interesting point, that no matter what happens, Lafrenière is going to play there, and he's going to say that he's going to be happy playing there. Certainly it's something we've come to expect now with NHL prospects, and I don't expect Lafrenière to break that mold. At the same time, though, I am making this video here just because the report has come out, and hey man, this is a discussion-based YouTube channel. Furthermore, we have another comment here I wanted to highlight from SGT Ravage Returns. I think neither Guy Lafleur nor Jean Béliveau wanted to play for the Canadiens at the beginning of their careers. And look how it all worked out in the end. A lot of stuff can be said or rumored to have been said, and I feel like particularly ghoulish elements in Montreal media seem to like making stuff up about the team to find clicks. Let's say what happens at the draft lottery first. don't paint the kid as Lindros ahead of time, since, as the old proverb says, don't count your Lafrenières until they hatch. The reply here from Chuck Kidman says, yeah, that's nothing new. They had to buy a whole league just to get Beliveau to play here. I don't think Lafleur or Beliveau regretted any part of their time here, much once the sun settled on their careers, even if they had doubts at the beginning. Now, of course, we're not saying that Lafrenière is Jean Beliveau or Guy Lafleur just yet. But he is supposed to be a franchise potentially defining star, and as a guy who is French-Canadian, there is always going to be that idea that the Quebecers should go to the Quebec team. It's just too perfect after all, right? But it's also why the question that the news radio station 91.9 Sports asks at the end is all the more relevant. Are we too severe with Quebecers who play for the Habs? And if you want to take a look at Quebecers who play for the Habs, probably the most notable one that didn't end up working out was Louis LeBlanc. There are obviously others, but Louis LeBlanc is in a similar situation as to what Alexis Lafrenière would have probably experienced had he been drafted first overall by the Habs, just amplified to a much greater capacity. LeBlanc was drafted 18th overall in 2009 by the Montreal Canadiens, and he was immediately touted towards being the next best French superstar. Lo and behold, he wasn't that, and he was really on the receiving end of tons and tons of pressure, and it really wasn't all too nice. His last recorded season was actually 2015-16, and he's 29 years old now, so he certainly didn't have the same level of output that was expected out of him. But we've seen patterns like this again and again, where Quebecers come to Montreal and Quebec fans end up thinking that they should be good. I'd say it's probably more probable than not that there is a subconscious desire amongst the collective Habs fanbase that the Quebec players should probably be a little bit better than the non-Quebec players. But at the same time, this league has expanded to more than 6 teams than it was in the beginning, and we have so many more players from all around the world that singling out Quebec people and thinking that they should be good because they're from Quebec and that they play in Montreal certainly isn't the most probable way to go about things anymore. You can't have every French superstar player in the league playing in Montreal, and you can't have every French player in Montreal being a superstar. It just doesn't work like that anymore. But of course, you didn't need me to tell you that. It's just adding more food for thought to the discussion that we're having here as to whether or not Lafrenière and his team would probably not want him to play here. It's just, I thought it was really interesting because this isn't the first time we've seen it. We already talked about this a few months ago with the Lafrenière not meeting with Montreal video, but that was somewhat in a sort of different circumstance because there was the whole idea that the Canadiens wouldn't even really be in the contention for Lafrenière in the first place. So it was understandable why players wouldn't want to meet with teams that don't really have too much of a good chance at drafting him. It's just, with the first overall pick going to a play-in series loser, this whole dynamic has been changed so much, and it opens the door to way more speculation and way more spitballing here and there, which is what this YouTube channel is pretty much doing here with this video. But again, if Lafrenière ends up going to Montreal, then he's gonna say that he's happy with it. There's no way he's gonna say, no, don't draft me, Montreal. I'm gonna go to the second overall team. I want LA to draft me instead. And who knows, with all the speculation that Tim Stützle may go first overall in general, that may be a possibility. So there's a whole bunch of really weird storylines with this draft that if you put them all together, it can combine for a concoction of weirdness all around, something that we would not have expected maybe a year ago. Let's say Quinton Byfield goes third, that'd be weird. Let's say Stützle goes first and Lafrenière goes second, that'd be weird. So I guess the bottom line of all this discussion is, this is not the weirdest thing we've had coming out of these draft stories in the past few months. But again, we don't know if it's really true. So, talk to me in the comments below what you think about this whole idea of the Quebec star not wanting to play in the Quebec market because the Quebec fans are going to be really harsh. And just tell me what you think. it's certainly something that I can understand why it would be a concern. It's just, I personally don't believe it's as big of a concern as 91.9 Sports is apparently making it out to be. So tell me what you think in the comments below, and again, the play-in series Game 1 result is probably going to change what you feel about this, so if that definitely has a change in your opinion, then let me know about that too. But I hope you enjoyed this video. So that is Trollus99, and bye.